In this video, we'll see who won the most titles of each major tournament, who's the biggest winner of each of the top 5 European leagues, Europa League, Champions League, Club World Cup, the national team competition of each continent, then finally the World Cup. But not just titles as a player, let's see who actually is the biggest champion, counting titles won both as player and as manager. You'll be surprised. Starting with the biggest club tournament, the Champions League, that's dominated by Real Madrid. So much that Toni Kroos, Carvajal and other legends won their 6th trophy. That's impressive. But their manager lifted the title 7 times, Carlo Ancelotti. At the age of 30, he didn't have any Champions League titles, but that changed in 1989, when he won the title as a midfielder for AC Milan. Then in the following year, he won another Champions League. He won twice as a player. But that was just the beginning, cause when he became a coach, led Milan to win the 2003 Champions League. Now he had 3. Then in 2007, he won yet another Champions League. What he did for Milan seemed impossible to be repeated in other clubs. But then he signed with Real Madrid.
It's done. It's the 10th triumph for Real Madrid.
He led Madrid to win the Champions League in his first season. Then he left, came back, won the Champions League again, and in 2024 got another title. Carlo became the biggest Champions League winner ever. 2 titles as a player and a record of 5 as a manager. 7 in total. That's crazy.
I am a record man.
Now let's go to the strongest European league, the Premier League. The Premier League is considered one of the toughest club competitions. But there was a guy who made it look easy. The manager Alex Ferguson. His first title came in 1993. Then from there, he started dominating, leading Man United to win again in 1994, then 2 in a row, another 3 consecutive titles, 2003, another 3 in a row, 2011 and 2013. In a span of 20 years, Alex Ferguson won 13 titles. But he's not alone with this crown. Alongside him, throughout this entire journey, there was the midfielder Ryan Giggs. So he also won 13 titles. Now let's move to another European league, the German Bundesliga, where Oliver Kahn used to be the biggest winner, but a player managed to surpass him, Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller made his professional debut at 20 years old. Then right in his first season, he won his first Bundesliga. But after that title, it took a while to get another trophy, only winning again in 2013. However, from that year on, Bayern Munich began to dominate Germany.
It is for Bayern München, 11 titles in a row.
Between 2013 and 2023, Thomas Müller won 11 titles in a row. But that stopped when Kane signed for Bayern. Even so, Müller won a total of 12 Bundesligas, the king of Germany. But it wasn't just Germany that had a single club dominating. The Italian Serie A was also called the Farmers League when Juventus stacked up titles, with one player winning more than anyone else, Gianluigi Buffon. Buffon won his first Serie A in 2002 when he was 24. Then he soon won it again in 2003. But after that, Juventus went years without winning. They even got relegated to the 2nd division due to a scandal called Calciopoli. It never crossed anyone's mind that Buffon would become the greatest champion. But then in 2012, when he was already 34, Juventus won again. And from there, it began a massive domination. With Buffon, Juventus won again in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016 and 2017. Buffon then spent a season at PSG, returned and won again in 2019 and 2020. So winning his last trophy at the age of 42, Buffon broke the Serie A records, becoming the greatest champion with 10 titles. Buffon alone has more titles than Napoli, Roma and Lazio combined. He's a legend. Now before we see who's the greatest La Liga winner of all time and move to bigger tournaments, let's see who stacked the most French league titles. In the past, there were players who won it 7 times. But then PSG began to dominate, and the midfielder Marco Verratti broke the record. He was one of the first signings of the Qatari group for PSG, so he won everything. He won his first title in 2013, then 3 in a row, another 3 consecutively, 2022 and 2023. Verratti became the biggest winner with 9 titles, but his reign didn't last long. Verratti left Paris, so in 2024, Marquinhos won his 9th trophy as well. So before we see who's the biggest winner of the continental tournaments, let's go to one of the best leagues in the world, La Liga.
Leo Messi lifts the trophy. Football Club Barcelona.
Lionel Messi made La Liga look easy. With Barcelona, he dominated it. He won his first titles in 2005 and 2006, not being the main player yet. But then in 2009, he won another title, also winning the Best Player award. From there, they dominated it, winning again in 2010, 2011, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2018 and 2019. The last one giving Messi his 10th La Liga. That's a crazy number. But he's not the biggest winner. There's yet one player ahead of him, Paco Gento. This guy played for Real Madrid in the 50s and 60s, when Madrid dominated Spain in Europe. Playing as a winger, Paco Gento won his first La Liga in 1954 when he was just 20 years old. Then he stayed at the club and won several more. There was even a point where they won 5 consecutive times, until he won his last in 1969. So in a span of 16 seasons, Paco Gento won La Liga 12 times, a record I doubt will ever be broken. Now let's move away from the national leagues and go to bigger tournaments. But since we already covered the Champions League, let's see who won the most Europa Leagues. The Europa League is a very difficult tournament, but a guy managed to win 5 titles in just 8 seasons, Jose Reyes. This guy was midfielder and winger, playing in 2010 for Atletico Madrid, who had never won the Europa League. But that year, they defeated Fulham in a very tough final, winning the title. Then in the 2011-12 season, Atletico won another Europa League. Even though Reyes only played half of that season, he was officially crowned champion once again. He only played half of the season because he transferred to another club, Sevilla, where history was made. With Sevilla, he won the Europa League 3 times in a row, in 2014, 2015 and 2016, becoming the biggest champion with 5 titles. Now after the European tournament, let's go to a worldwide tournament, the Club World Cup, that has one player ahead of everyone else with the most titles, Toni Kroos.
Real Madrid are kings of the world once more.
Playing for Real Madrid, he dominated this competition, winning the title in 2014, 2016, 2017, 2018 and 2022. But other players also won these titles, like Carvajal. However, Toni Kroos is ahead of everyone else, because in 2013 he also won with Bayern Munich. So he has an impressive total of 6 Club World Cups, making him have even more titles than Real Madrid itself. That's crazy. Now let's go to the national team tournaments, starting with the UEFA Euro, that for a long time had just one player with the crown, Rainer Banhoff. He alone was the greatest UEFA Euro winner for over 30 years. Cause when Germany won the title twice in 1972 and 1980, Rainer was the only to be on both occasions, even though he didn't play a single game, not even the bench. His record stood for over 30 years, until Spain won 2 times in a row. So another 12 players joined this list of 2-time champions. But the most experienced of them all is Iker Casillas. Casillas won 2 UEFA Euros but competed in other 3 editions. So he's the 2-time winner with the most experience. Now before we go to the World Cup, let's quickly look at who's the biggest winner of each continent, who's the king of each part of the world. So in 2024, Messi won his 2nd Copa America, but he's far from being the biggest winner. The Copa America is the oldest national team tournament, so the man who won the most titles is also from way back, Angel Romano. With Uruguay, he won the very first Copa America in 1916, and then he won it 5 more times, making it a total of 6 Copa Americas, a record that will never be broken. And another record that's almost impossible to break is the one for the most CONCACAF Gold Cup titles. The Gold Cup is a North and Central America tournament, and the keeper Guillermo Ochoa made history. He won his first title in 2009 at the age of 24, already being in the starting team. Then he won again in 2011, 2015, 2019 and in 2023 at the age of 38 he won again. So with a total of 5 titles, Guillermo Ochoa became the biggest Gold Cup winner. Now leaving the American continent, let's go to Africa, which has the Cup of Nations, a tournament full of players from the top European leagues. But the biggest champion is a guy you probably don't know, Ahmed Hassan. You might not know him because he never played in the top 5 European leagues. Even so, he made history in Africa. Playing for Egypt, he won his first Cup of Nations in 1998, even scoring in the final. But that was just the beginning. Years later, Egypt dominated the continent, winning 3 times in a row, 2006, 2008 and 2010, with Hassan even being the best player twice, making it 4 Cups of Nations for him. But he wasn't alone. Egypt's keeper, Esmail Hadari, was part of all those victories and also has 4 titles, making them both the biggest Cup of Nations winners. Now before the World Cup, we still have the Asian Cup and the Oceania Nations Cup. And the king of Asia, the player who won the most Asian Cups ever, is also a guy you probably don't know, Parviz Galichkani. This midfielder played for Iran and he's the only player ever to win 3 Asian Cups, winning all 3 in a row. Meanwhile, the title of King of Oceania is shared by 3 players, Australia's Tony Popovic and New Zealanders Costa Barbarouses and Ivan Vasilich. Among these 3, the most successful player is Ivan Vasilich from New Zealand, because besides his 3 Oceania Cups, he was also a runner-up. He was a defender for Auckland City and is the King of Oceania. Now after all these trophies, let's go to the tournament everyone dreams of winning, the World Cup. But contrary to what many people think, Pelé is not the biggest winner. He's the player with the most titles, but not the person with the most trophies overall. The real biggest winner is someone who played alongside him, Mario Zagallo. Playing as a left winger, he won his first World Cup in 1958, even scoring a goal and giving an assist in a final. Then 4 years later, he was called up for another World Cup, where he played even better, scoring 1 goal and providing 4 assists, winning his second World Cup, already becoming one of the greatest players. But a few years later, his playing career came to an end. However, he wanted to be in another edition. So instead of playing, he became Brazil's manager for the 1970 World Cup. At just 38, he managed Brazil and did a great job, leading to another title. At that moment, only him and Pelé had 3 World Cups. But he went even further. When in the 90s, he was invited to be Brazil's assistant coach. Alongside Parreira, he would lead Brazil in another World Cup. But it was gonna be tough. The last time Brazil had won was in 1970. But Brazil advanced, defeated Italy on penalties and became 4-time champions. So Zagallo won his 4th World Cup. Then he almost won for a 5th time, cause in 1998 he was the head coach and led Brazil to the final, but they lost to France. So Zagallo won 4 World Cups and has 1 silver medal. Absolutely incredible. So did you like this video? If you enjoyed it, check out this other one that I posted. So thank you and bye.